Welcome to Talk to Me. Today's guest, Teresa Veldari, is here to discuss God's plan, business, and faith. Today's show is sponsored by a special woman author, Lisa DeShoram. Tiny Tales, Big Triumphs is available on Amazon. You can get your copy there if you have a child age 6 to 13, or you just want to read to your little ones. This chapter by chapter book will take children on an extraordinary journey, introducing them to a diverse array of animals who embody the true meaning of strength and perseverance. From overcoming challenges to finding inner calm, each chapter explores different aspects of resilience in a way that is relatable and engaging for the young minds. Tiny Tales, Big Triumphs, How Animals Show Us Super Strength is the book that will inspire young readers to discover resilience through the remarkable stories of animals and give parents an absolutely amazing way to bond with their child. I am so excited because today is the start of Women's History Month. So it is time to kick it off with a woman that makes history every day, my very special guest. Teresa Veldari is an author, publisher, host of the podcast Conversations That Make a Difference, writing and performance coach, and a potter. Teresa found her passion and purpose through life's challenges while trusting God's plan. Her faith in God, gratitude, and giving are her heart. Her abilities as a writer, editor, publisher, and coach are vital ingredients she brings to those who share their message with the world on her podcast or through her publishing platform. Her daily quiet time and writing practice keep Teresa focused on her God-given purpose as life unfolds in this ever-changing world. We all have a story to tell and a heartfelt message to share. Today, you will hear Teresa's. Are you ready to hear her story? Because I know I am. This has been an interview I have been waiting for quite some time. So let's bring Teresa to the stage. Welcome, Teresa. How are you today?
Hey, Brenda. So great to see you. I'm awesome. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you as my very first guest for Women's History Month. This is a perfect kickoff because you are a woman that is making history every day. But I want to start out, we've told people a little bit about you, but there is so much more. I want to start off with what I'm calling Teresa's plan. We know our topic here today, but I want you to talk about what was your plan for business when you started?
Oh, honestly, I had a plan that I was working for an insurance company for many years. And I had a plan that I was going to, when I would move to Pennsylvania after my divorce, I was going to continue that and give some time to my pottery because I knew that that was a gift that God had given me.
Mhm.
And somehow between all those hours of work, I was going to make it big. That didn't happen. That didn't happen that way. And even before that, my plan was to stay married to my husband for,
Mhm.
a lifetime. And unfortunately, that didn't happen either. So God's plans are bigger than mine. And he told me that he had something different for me when I was at the altar that day that I said I do. And I could have walked away. I let everybody else's presence be more important than my decision. And I had some challenges to walk through along the way.
Well, when I was reading your bio, and it said that you were an author, a publisher, a potter, a performance coach, a writing coach, and so on and so on and so on. I was like, phew, this is a busy woman. And with all of that you're doing, I really do want us to spend a lot of time right now talking about how, of course, God's plans happen. I put a scripture in here because I thought it was important to read this out. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That's the new NIV version, Jeremiah 29:11. You know, Teresa, a lot of times we talk about our plans and the plans we have for you, but for you, when I was reading your bio, you were clear that it was about God's plans for you. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you put that verse up there. That's my go-to verse. That's my
Okay.
go-to verse. So, and you didn't know that
No,
beforehand. So
I
God's
did
in the
not.
mix all the time, right? He's in the
That's
mix
right.
all the time. So I uh, you know knowing that I had this gift of pottery, I was consistently and regularly making pottery.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, one day I'm sitting at the wheel, and I always, whenever I was at the wheel, I was always inviting God in with me to have His hands on mine, to make beautiful things that would, change somebody's life, light them up, and bring some sort of joy to them. That was my plan.
Mm-hmm.
When I decided not to stay in the insurance world and
Mm-hmm.
do something different. And then one day I said, is this all there is? Is this what you want me to do? Just make these. I'm happy doing this, but is this what there is?
Right.
And I got a clear message that there was more, that there was to use this as a transformational process and to write a book. Okay. I had been writing every day in my journal, spilling
Mm-hmm.
my guts, my heart, my soul onto the pages of my journal for a long time, and studying the Bible and doing all kinds of things that were going to, little did I know, lead me into where I am now. So I did put some of the steps, all of the steps to making pottery, into an outline for a book, and I shared part of that in the journal that I did, Become Who You Were Created to Be.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who want to see, these are my hands. This is one of
Yeah.
my pots that I made,
Mm-hmm.
with the help of God, of course, because I do nothing alone without Him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I put them in there, and it's a He takes us from a ball of clay to a work of art, and that's how I started, the process of utilizing what I knew about pottery, taking it into the written world, taking it into the coaching that I do, and
Mm-hmm.
taking it into the process of helping other people get their stories told in books.
I want to read this because this is in the middle of your bio. It said, Michelangelo, the famous 15th century artist and sculptor, said, every block of stone has a statue inside, and it's the task of the sculptor to discover it. His job was to remove the excess stone to reveal the beauty within. And I noticed that it also says you use pottery making to illustrate how each ball of clay, with the touch of the potter's hand, can and will be transformed into a beautiful work of art. And I know that translates into everything you do.
Yeah.
So, how has that been so important to you when you're working with your clients, be it in your publishing or in your coaching or with your pottery?
So that Michelangelo quote really speaks to me, because I'm one that can tend to take on a lot of things at the same time. And I have said this before, some people have heard me say it. Sometimes for people like me, it's hard to say no. Can you
Mhm.
add this? If you want to get
Yes.
something done, give it to a busy person. Well, that was me. And I had to really learn how to let go of the things that weren't part of what my purpose was, and stay focused on what it is that God has given me to do. The pottery and the illustration, I can go through it really quickly if you want me to.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so in order to do anything, and take what I'm going to say as if you were doing a transformation on your business, a transformation in your life. It fits into everything, and I was shocked when I saw all this
Mhm.
come through. So
Mhm.
the first thing is you have to prepare. So when you're
Mhm.
making pottery, you have to prepare the clay, get all the bubbles out of it, so that when you put it on the wheel, you have a homogeneous piece of clay to work with.
Mhm.
Then after you have the preparation, then you need to be open to whatever is going to come next. So the
Mhm.
next step in making pottery is you open it so that you have like a donut shape on the wheel, and you're going to have your one hand on the inside, one hand on the outside, and you're going to create the walls. And then
Okay.
it's mold and shape. So you decide what you want this transformation to look like, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Create it after you've opened. You've got you've got the keys that you need in order to be able to shape this.
Mhm.
And you have to set it aside and look at
Okay.
it. Okay, is this really what I want? Is this the shape that I want? Is this going to serve my purposes?
Mhm.
And how am I going to get to from A to B with where this pot is right now? Then they go through. a trimming stage. Take away, again, going back to Michelangelo, take away
Okay.
that which is not necessary in the actual piece, and then you set it aside again. Now, as it has to dry completely, air dry completely, and then it goes into the fire. How many times
Mm.
something and then we're like, oh, I don't know what to do next. I have to whatever goes into your mind.
Mhm.
So the first fire is what I call the purification fire. Take away all the things that are not necessary, and what is
Yeah.
left is a strong piece after the fire. So even though we're kicking and screaming while we're in the fire and things are going on around us, and we're yelling how we're getting burned, or we're getting in
Mhm.
many ways, getting burned comes true in many ways, right? And then when you come out of the fire, it's like, oh, okay, now what? Now you get to create what it is that you really want. And you look at the piece as a blank canvas for an artist.
Mm.
Now you apply the color, you apply the design, and then once again, back into the fire. Back into the fire. Now, this fire is much different than the other. It's a little
Mhm.
hotter, but
Mhm.
it's the beautification fire.
Okay.
So the glaze is actually comes to life within the fire. So the colors come out, the
Mhm.
design becomes evident, and you have a beautiful work of art. Now I have here a tray
Mhm.
that
I
I
was
found.
hoping that you brought some of your pottery with it. I
Right
love it. Oh
here's
yes,
the
that's
tray.
gorgeous.
I call
Mhm.
this patchwork. And
Mhm.
then there's another one. I have another tray, similar size, same style, a little deeper.
Mhm.
And this
Ooh. Yeah.
is my blue.
I like the
So
blues.
the cobalt blue. So once the fire hits it's a chemical process that happens. You know, when the fire hits the glaze, the
Mhm.
properties all come together, and the shine comes out, the color comes out, and then the last step of it all is go to the gallery and show off.
Show off. Okay. I like that. And I love that I love analogies anyway. And I love that you found a way to take something that you actually do and are now able to apply it in your publishing, in your coaching, in your pottery itself to bring about something beautiful each time that you use that process. And I think that's amazing. Now, when we talk about the pottery stuff, I know you do the pottery, but I also know you do the publishing.
Mm-hmm.
How has combining the two, because I know you do both, how has that been for you?
Um, I take all the concepts that I just told you into the conversations that I'm having with the authors who come to me to have their story told.
Mhm.
First you have to find out, like, what's the plan?
Mhm.
How, you got to get ready the same way that you had to prepare the clay. You have to get ready
Okay.
for whatever it is that you're going to do next, which is going to be, write your manuscript. Then you have to be open to letting somebody else look at it, right? And have
Mhm.
somebody else edit it a little bit, mold and shape the story for you, with
Mhm.
you, so that you can bring the best of who you are. Whether it's a children's book, whether it's a memoir, you can bring the best of who you are out into the world. And there's the firing process. And sometimes it's not easy to have somebody else say to you, hey, I think maybe you might need to move this over here, or you might want to
Yeah.
say this a little bit differently. That's the fire. And then you get
So
to
you work very closely with each artist or author that comes into your publishing company. Is there a specialty that your company has?
lately, we've been doing a lot of children's books. The
Mhm.
children's books are just, every single one of them has a message, and
Mhm.
they come from people who are showing up. They're just showing up. Somehow they find me. They're showing up and they're bringing their stories. Every one of them has a message, and every person has such a heartfelt way about them. Like, you see their heart from the beginning. And I just am like, totally, totally blessed to be able to help them get their stories out into the world.
Now I've been to your website and I've seen the amazing uh particular amazing children's book that you and your team creates, and I really would love it if you could tell them a little bit about, just pick one of your favorite heartfelt stories that you've been privileged to be a part of, because I think what I loved about them is that they were children's stories, but they were children's stories with a message.
Yeah, they all have a message. This series that I'm working on now is called Born Able, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really close to my heart because my friend Jessie, she adopted embryos to have two
Mm-hmm.
children. They're
Mm-hmm.
twins,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the boys, when they were born, had trisomy 18, lived for 7 months, and passed away. But in the meanwhile, it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking that that baby passed away. However, all Jessie ever wanted to do is to be a mom, and she didn't know what her purpose in life was. She had done so many other things, been successful in many other ways, but did not feel fulfilled. This little boy, Abel, coming into her life, gave Jessie her purpose. So she
Okay.
has a whole series of books called Born Able that brings light and love and attention to children with complex medical situations. Trisomy 18, trisomy 13. Matter of fact, they're going to be on my show on Conversations That Make a Difference on
Mm-hmm.
the 5th of March, which is this coming Tuesday, to talk more about that. That's bringing me great joy to be able to get that message out and to be able to support the not-for-profit organization through the sale of those books. So that really is something that I feel really good about. Another author has a little granddaughter who absolutely loves broccoli. Loves
Mm-hmm.
broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Henley, and the first book is Broccoli. It's my favorite vegetable. And all about Henley loving broccoli. And what I love about this is it brings attention to kids who decide whether or not they like broccoli. And Donna Gary, the author of this book, has said to me she's gone to school and she's read the book to children, and she's brought broccoli and other vegetables with them. And the kids who start out saying, I don't like broccoli, I
Yeah.
don't like, well, in the end, they like broccoli. The second book that she has is the family takes a trip to Italy, where broccoli had its roots. It
Oh,
began in
okay.
Italy. And it's a travel story. It's fun, it's engaging, and it teaches the kids about something that they didn't know that they liked, but they end up liking in the end. And the story is very engaging. So
And what I love about all of your books is the amazing illustrators that you work with that create some of the most fantastic illustrations I've seen in children's book. And I think this will bring us to the next slide I had for you today,
mhm.
Teresa, which is business and faith. Because what I did notice about your books, your pottery, your coaching, all the things that you do, your faith runs very clear through it. How has it been for you to incorporate your faith with your business?
Um, I'm going to say that it's easy because it's part of who I am. It's my heart. My faith in God has always been very real, very alive. There was a time in my life when I thought that you know that I had been abandoned by God when I said yes to the
Mhm.
man that I married rather than yes to God. I'll do something else.
Mhm.
And the background that I was brought up in, I thought I was being punished because I didn't listen to God, and that everything
Mhm.
that went wrong in my life was because I didn't listen to God. And so I kind of walked away for a while, and then I had something happen that really told me that regardless of what I've been through, He was there all along. So
Mhm.
I'm I am hopelessly devoted, if you will,
Mhm.
to my faith, and hopefully, I should say, hopefully devoted to my faith, and it shows up no matter what. And ironically, I have many people of faith who come to me to have their books published. We even have on Authentic Endeavors Publishing, which is the main company. Book Endeavors is the children's book platform.
Mhm.
I have Kingdom Book Endeavors, where
Mhm.
the things that are appropriate for that, Christian books, God books, go there. And then
Mhm.
I have wellness books, and I have Spirit Book Endeavors, and I do the series, the Daily Gift book series under Spirit Book Endeavors. Not everyone who contributes is Christian, but there is always something spiritual that comes through every story. So I know I'm in the right place, doing the right thing.
I believe that. I'm going to put this up on the screen here too, because one of the things I know how your faith shines through is some of the books that you do put out. A Daily Gift of Hope, the Daily Gift of Gratitude, and of course, Become Who You Were Created to Be are all some of the books. And we have put the links for those books in the description box so people can go on Amazon and get them. You know, I'm excited, Teresa, to have this conversation because I would ask you, what would you say has been the greatest gift of incorporating your faith within your business for you?
The number of people who have come into my world, who have spoken life into places where some people just can't find their way out of whatever circumstance it is. The biggest gift that I get is knowing that somewhere along the line, everyone who comes to me in one way or another has helped someone else. One of the things that I say to people, especially as they're coming in as contributing authors to the Daily Gift book series, you know, they'll say, "Oh, I'm afraid to tell my story." Been there. And what if somebody been there? You know, what if they stay out of the what ifs? The what ifs are detrimental to who you are and how you show up. And that's how I feel about that. But the biggest thing that I encourage people to do would to tell their story, even if it's a 250 word message or 300 word message in one of the Daily Gift book series, is that if you have come through something, and we all have something that has been detrimental to us somewhere along the line. We've all been in the fire, okay? We've all been in the purification fire. And if you have found your way out, and have become a better person and can share that with someone else and help them get through something, then your purpose that has served its purpose in your life. So I encourage people that even though it may be challenging to say something that they've been through, in the end, somehow it's a cleansing process that goes through the author. And it opens the door for somebody else to have a difficult conversation. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah. What would you say to those people that say there's no place for your faith in business?
Oh, liar, liar, pants on fire.
That's a good one. Okay, Teresa, this time we're going to give people some questions because you're going to get put on the hot seat so people can get to know you. Okay, I have these questions here and I'm just going to pick them at random. Let's go. How would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as a kind, generous, loving person who did something to make a difference for somebody else in the world, for others in the world.
Okay. Now you're a publisher and you have lots of books, but here's a book question. What book on your shelf is begging to be read?
Oh, the book that my son gave me for Christmas, and it's by that neuroscientist who died and went to heaven, and it's about heaven being real. That's what's next.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, let me see. What are you grateful for?
Oh my goodness, I'm grateful for every situation that comes into my life because somewhere along the line, it makes things different. It makes me more appreciative of whatever. I always say, be grateful for the good, be grateful for the bad, because in the end, it's all from God. It's all a blessing in the end.
Okay. What is something you would like to do more of?
Have time to do some of the things outside of my office that I like to do.
All right. Do you have a favorite quote?
Yes, I do. And this favorite quote is from 14th century theologian. His name is Meister Eckhart.
Okay.
And it says very simply, if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough. And I'll tell you why. That's my favorite quote.
Okay. Yes, please do.
Okay. The gratitude piece. Okay. In the book of Matthew, Jesus fed 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish.
Mm-hmm.
And in Matthew 14, verse 13 to 21, you can see that story. And in
Mm-hmm.
verse 19, it says that taking the loaves and the fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks, broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples who fed the people. Everyone ate to be filled. 12 baskets of broken pieces were left over. 5,000 men, besides women and children.
Mm-hmm.
God is an abundant God.
Yeah.
When you read that passage, and if you've ever watched The Chosen, when they do
Mm-hmm.
that, the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that Jesus said to God was, thank you. He blessed it and sent it off to the people. So, and and the other thing is John 10:10 says, the thief comes to kill, destroy, um, killed only to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus came so that we would have life and have it abundantly. So, a prayer of thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough, and God will continue to provide more than enough.
That's good. Okay, what is life teaching you right now?
Life is teaching me that even though I don't necessarily always get what I want,
Mm-hmm.
I will always be provided for. Life will always bring something new and exciting, even when I'm not expecting it. And that holds true for my business, and it holds true for my personal life too. My son owns a restaurant locally,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always interesting to get involved with him and what's going on there.
Yeah.
So, and recently they did a murder mystery thing, so it's really fun to be involved in whatever it is that's going on there as well.
Okay. You've just been uh, approached by a budding entrepreneur, and they go, Teresa, I see you and you're a serial entrepreneur. What 3 pieces of advice would you give me that you wish you had known when you started?
uh, the first thing is I would say, hold on and get ready for the ride.
Okay.
The second thing that I would do is probably take them through the pottery steps, like I just showed you earlier, because that tells the truth of whether or not, whatever it is that someone is thinking of doing, whether they're going to be able to have the tools that they need and the mindset that they need in order to be able to make it happen. And the third thing that I would say is trust God. Probably the first thing
Those
that
are
I would
3 good
say.
things. Those are
Yeah.
3 good things.
Yeah.
Teresa, tell me, how is what you're currently doing with all this on your plate helping you live your best life now?
The joy that comes from it. Yes, there are challenges, and there are times when I have a client who is, you know, I'm just going to say challenging.
Challenging.
Um,
We've all had them.
yeah, and they're few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
This too shall pass, and the joy that I get when I get those books after they're published, and the smiles that I see coming back to me, and the thank yous that come to me because I did something that I absolutely love to help somebody get at something that they absolutely love, brings joy that I cannot put words to.
That's amazing. I'm going to put this up on the screen and I want you to talk about it. This is about your free event that's coming up on March 18th, the Winter Writers Workshop. The registration is https://bit.ly/writers workshop winter 2024. I'm going to leave that up for a minute so somebody can get that address right there, Teresa, but could you tell us about your event?
So I'm just going to have a short event to give people who think that they might not know how to get started with writing, or they might be challenged with what they want to talk about.
Okay.
Everybody's like, I believe we all have a book in us, whether it's a little pamphlet, whether it's a novel, whether it's a memoir, whether it's a children's book, whatever. I believe that people just need a little bit of guidance in order to be able to get pages started. For me, it started with journaling. Just write out whatever it is that you have on your heart and get used to putting the pen to the paper. And the pen to the paper is the best way, as far as I'm concerned, for getting their information out there, because there's something that happens between the head, the heart, and the page that actually makes a healing process happen in the body. So, what I'm going to do there is I'm going to give some tips to people who are interested in writing. Whether you are a writer or not, we're going to talk about different ways you can write today, things you can write about, some how-tos, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be interactive, so it's going to be fun, and it's the first one of. I'm hoping to do one every season. This is the winter one. We'll do another one at the end of spring before summer, and then at the end of summer before fall again. So,
well, the address is right there below the screen right now. And Teresa, I want to say thank you so much for coming and having the conversation about God's plan for you and business and faith, and for sharing your faith and your business with us today. And if you have any final thoughts, please feel free to share them now.
I think the one thing that I want to say, especially with the world that we live in today, is please, regardless of what you're facing, whether or not to write your story, whether it's anything else that you might have in your life, let go of the fear. It doesn't serve you. I had to let go of a lot of things that I thought might trip me up along the way, that were all based in fear. And if I go back to the good book, back to the Bible, there are 365 places in that book, one for every day of the year, that says, be not afraid. Do not be afraid. Overcome your fear, walk through your challenges, trust God, and whatever your purpose is, wherever your life may lead you, it will be all good.
But with that said, I want to remind everyone to tap into what Teresa is telling you. And the way you tap in is, number one, you transform your mindset to know that it's even possible to have your business and your faith be something that is seamless in your life. The next thing you do is announce to the world and get accountability around what it is you want to do in your business, and make sure you're not ashamed of what it is you do. Then you prepare by making sure you set up the plan that allows you to run the business of your dreams the way you do within your faith parameters. Then I want you to imagine what your life would be like if you follow God's plan for your life and combined your business and your faith. And then I want you to nurture that belief, knowing that you can do business your way, whatever that way is for you. Teresa, again, thank you for coming on the show. And as always, everyone, remember, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely and choose to do business your way. Be blessed. Thanks, Teresa.
Thanks, Brenda.